Good morning, good afternoon. Nice. Yeah, true. Okay, today, listen, I got to admit right off the top, the title may be a little bit clickbait, but stay for a second, see if you kind of agree with some of the sentiment around this. If this is your first time watching, thanks for taking the time to click on the video. My name is The Shiller. I've been covering NFTs, Web3, and all that kind of jazz since the glory days of Top Shot, and that really is what it was. So let's go back to a time when that was the case and the top of last cycle in terms of the highest NFT PFP sales. A Cryptopunk, I think that was an alien 8,000 Ethereum. A Bored Ape went for 869. A Mutant Ape, I think one of the Mega Mutants, went for 500 ETH. Azuki, for I'm assuming one of the spirits, upwards of 420 ETH. Pudgy Penguins, there was the one that was the opposite facing, like green background Pudgy, that went for 400. Moonbirds, I don't know which one of those went for 350, maybe one of the glitch ones. Cool Cats, obviously there's a couple one of ones. Doodles, again, I'm not really sure. Wow, it must have been one of those like cats for 296, and then Oni Force might have been the Logan Paul one. And so with this, what's the common denominator? What's the common denominator? Let's have a discussion here. Okay, well, the fact that everybody thought, hey, this is going to be the future. These are some of the top collections. Everyone is paying attention to these things. There's absolutely no way any of this can fail. Okay, sure. Let's go with that sentiment just for a second. Now, relating back to things that I've kind of seen happen over the space lately is that for these ones, you didn't have to do anything. You didn't have to do a single thing. The demand for that collectible, the NFT, the asset was just there. Okay, it was really not much. And if you really dig down, a few of these actually had some sort of a yield. Okay, so we had what is it, the Cyberkongs on the bottom one there. I didn't realize that was a part of it, but those also went to like $700,000 where you were yielding banana token. I don't think right off the rip the ape coin was available for Bored Apes. It happened a little bit later. Might have been around the same time, but for these other collections, there was nothing else except for those two that were asset yielding. So that's fascinating. The two of the, let's just call it 10 here, were asset yielding, and the others were just, oh, we think that something's going to be good for them. Right? That people are going to have that demand. And so come along, we have all these regulations, all these things about compliance, how people are doing the token drops, what's what. The world's deciding what's good and what's bad. And what's happening now? Well, everybody is still spread extremely thin across whatever they're holding. Now, this isn't for everybody. You might not be one of these people, but I feel like there's a slew of individuals that are in multiple projects. They don't understand it. They don't have an intent to understand it. They hold it with the hopes of, oh, this is going to end up being something, and that's fine. But if the collection offers something where, let's use two as an example, Forgotten Runes, if you've been paying attention to what they're doing, you could play in their game. They had like a mint that was like out of 500 that ended up absolutely skyrocketing, but you needed to be aware and getting on top of it, paying attention to things. For Futureverse, there's, these quests, and if you don't do these quests to actively participate, you're not going to be able to get the rewards the same way that, the cycle and everything happened before. It's crazy the amount of people that just don't care, that they don't pay attention, and then they come in, they complain, they miss things. And I think again, this is a personal take, is that you find whatever you're really interested in and just focus on that. I respect the diversified approach. I 100% do. But if it's at a point where you're getting all strung out, you're pissed off, you're missing things, and then you come back and you're like, oh my God, I had this thing and I could have done it. And then you blame the project when they've been tweeting out, they've been telling everybody, half the community's telling you what's going on, and you're being a little bit of a fish stick that's fried on the oven, brother. Nabby, what's going on, bro? Blued. It's crazy. I don't understand it, but this is something that's happening more and more. These collections and assets have typically something that you need to do. It's not the same. If you want to just hold something and forget it, you buy the squiggles, you buy the other art blocks, you buy, the cryptodes or whatever the hell it is that's strictly off of, this nostalgic art provenance thing. But for a lot of these newer assets, you have to be paying attention or you are going to get rinsed, my dude. But if you have survived the BTC crash from 69 to 15K, holy shit. Luna to $1 by Duquan, oh my goodness. 3AC going from 18 billion to 0. This just keeps getting worse. Celsius and Voyager bankrupt. FTX and FTT meltdown. SEC suing Yuga Labs, which that never gets brought up anymore. Don't know what happened with that. USDC depeg. Remember when Twitter was a fire when USDC depegged for a day? The Binance FUD, obviously we don't have CZ anymore. We're going to talk about Mr. SBF in a moment. The fake ETF that just happened the other week, which I do have a video up on the YouTube channel. Comment, like, subscribe. Thank you. And the bear market, the Bernstein Bears. As a kid, I absolutely love the Bernstein Bears. If I was to go back and like pick certain shows that I remember, George Shrinks, the Bernstein Bears. I did love SpongeBob and all that stuff. Fairly Odd Parents was pretty good. A couple of other bangers in there. Yu-Gi-Oh! Yu-Gi-Oh! Is pretty good too. The new meta is working for your bags. Fish, sticks, get fried. Navi, love to see it. Guys, if you're watching too, leave a comment just in the chat. Let me know, and we can chit-chat about whatever you want. And you've probably seen the narratives around this ERC 404. So Navi, you're going to have to help me out here, because we talked about it yesterday, and I don't know if TSBG's in the audience, but if you're watching the VOD, what's up, sir? But he sent me this morning, and I remember talking about it yesterday. And so there's this new token, or yeah, so it's called like ERC 404. And from my understanding of going over it yesterday, you got to imagine that you buy a token, right? And let's just say it's 0.5 of a token. It's not a whole token, it's 0.5 of a token. And if you buy another one, then you have a whole, and then you get the NFT. So we'll use Pudgy Penguins as an example. So you have half a Pudgy, you get it. Okay, there. Now you have your Pudgy. Let's say you don't like the traits on it or something, or you're like, hey, I'm going to kind of just try to roll the dice and see if I can get something different. You sell the 0.5 of this new ERC 404 that's a part of this Pudgy Penguin collection, and then it goes away. You still have that other half, but when you rebuy the other 0.5, it likely is a different one. And so you can do this, and the idea is kind of about fractionalization without fractionalization. It's a little bit confusing here. And Bosch, what's up? How much DYM did you get airdropped, and how much have you bought? I don't think I got any, to be honest. So within this, Bankless made a thread, so let's go over this, and maybe my explanation was garbo. Maybe it's great. So what is ERC 404, and why should it be on your radar? The 101, developed by Pandora ERC 404 team, which if you've heard the word Pandora over your timeline, that's what it is. ERC 404 is a new unofficial token standard that aims to bridge the divide between fungible tokens and NFTs. Why unofficial? ERC 404 skipped the formal Ethereum improvement proposal and Ethereum request for comments processes. This means it hasn't been community vetted for security flaws. That's always great. So adopting it can set a risky precedent and lead to currently unforeseen exploits. But how does it work? ERC 404 creatively mixes elements from the ERC 20 and ERC 721 standards, which are traditionally not designed to interact. Its ERC 721 approach deviates from the norm by relying on token mints and burns for fractional transfers. Why it matters. We've seen NFT fractionalization protocols where you can lock an NFT and issue shares against it, which, I mean, we've seen that for, I think, even some of the flow NFTs, but lately with the flooring protocol, if you guys have seen, I think they basically like vault to BAYC, Pudgy, whatever, and then they disperse all these tokens that are a part of it, and then people trade those tokens, and then it's a way to be able to buy that asset at like a lower price, and then hopefully those tokens follow the price of the NFT with it, essentially. In contrast, ERC 404 is designed to fractionalize natively within NFT projects that utilize the standard. This offers new avenues for experimentation and trading NFTs. The first project, Pandora, built on the ERC 404 standard, offers 10,000 ERC 20 tokens and 10,000 associated replicant NFTs. If you buy one full Pandora token on an exchange, one replicant NFT will be minted to your wallet. If you sell the token, its connected NFT gets burned. Since ERC 404 is experimental, many platforms won't automatically be able to support the standard. However, Pandora is already trading on decentralized exchanges like Uniswap and in NFT marketplaces like Blur and OpenSea. In less than a week since launching, Pandora and replicants have seen their value boom as excited traders have piled in. Pandora has risen plus 440%, sheesh, in that span to its current price of 16,814. What in the halibut? But again, this gives something a little bit different, right? From the NFTs to looking at the charts. It's a thing. I feel like that'd be kind of weird to buy like a single token for that much, though. So going forward, look for more collections to experiment with ERC 404 and look for more platforms to potentially integrate the tech. Okay, so this is kind of like a quick little breakdown for that. Again, shout out to Bankless for writing that. But the thing that I'm seeing all over my timeline in Crypto Navi coming through with that tier 1 subscription. Holy trip. Banger. I can't do that thing where, you know, it's people that do like that fast snap and can't do it. But yo, much love. Thank you so much, sir. Appreciate the support. But the idea is that we're seeing this now all over our timeline. We're starting to see the FOMO again. And if you look at the past week, Bosch, Navi, have you guys FOMO'd in anything? Have you felt the FOMO? Maybe. I know some of you guys are doing the whole Solana meme coin type deal, but you know, this is something that, okay, is people suddenly going to rush into this? Is this the flavor of the month, the day? What does it entail? It's interesting as well, again, with those like security risks. I think obviously crypto is one of those things where you're like, hey, let buddy over there go first. You know what I mean? But we'll see. Again, is this something that's kind of a fad? That first project obviously could be something that people are going to be wanting to pay attention to. Why do I have so many of those things? FOMOing for Stanley Cup coin. It's not even the playoffs in the NHL yet, Navi. That's crazy. Bosch seems interesting, but I'll be honest, I'm just going to keep trading D-Farmer. Dude is a god tier trader. Man, whatever happened to Franklin? I had like a super old interview with him. I don't think it's online anywhere. But I remember people used to follow everybody for like these trades and calls. And then some of them, they just disappear, man. It happens. Okay, so D-Frogs. A new ERC 404 token has hit a floor of 1.3 ETH with sales as high as 2 ETH. As a proud Ute holder, I have no joy in saying that it flipped Utes, though the market caps are similar given higher Ute supply. So I guess for Kevin to Gods, if you didn't see the other day, I was going to bring it up on stream. I didn't. I'm a fish. I hate when I do that. But he was like, oh, pay attention. Things are going to get exciting, or, you know, one of those kind of typical things to get people hyped up about it. And I guess it was for these deep frogs things. Now, the awkward part is the fact of, okay, here's this new collection. It's frogs. It's flipping the collection that looks like more like humans, or I guess like apes for Utes. But maybe we go back into the animal meta, but also people are just kind of chasing money, it looks like, in a way, unless they, you know, really love the aspect of it. But it's new tech that people are getting excited about. Don't want to FUD? If you're excited, that's great. Now to FUD. Oh, I love to FUD. Glad to see millions at Valhalla raised being used on important community building things like changing the V logo to another V logo, because that's definitely the game-changing pivot that will save all the holders you effed. Better idea at the founder, not Alex Lynn. Why don't you rebrand the logo from V to L? Because that's what this project is under your leadership. A big fat L. Wow. Cook 'em. Cook. Sheesh. That's crazy. Bonus bad CEO points for turning comments off. Afraid to really see what your community thinks about your useless brand. Okay, so we've highlighted Valhalla. We got some crazy things going on over here. 1 second, Damien. Appreciate you coming in here, boss. So Valhalla, again, TLDR, check the videos. I have a whole bunch of shorts. I've been uploading them like hell. Hopefully it's not super annoying for you guys. But these guys were supposed to build a blockchain streaming service. So, I mean, even myself, I'm like, okay, that's cool. You know, I'm trying to pay attention to everything that's going on here. We're covering NFTs and crypto. This is going to be great. They literally launch with having like massive esports partners logos ingrained into some of their NFTs, like T1, et cetera, et cetera. So you're like, okay, this has to be legit, right? This has to be legit. And speaking of legit, the Walmart greeter of the Futureverse Discord, Young Al's coming through with a fire 2-month primer. Yo, my man, how the hell are you, sir? So I guess they rebranded, and now they're just saying that they're premium gaming goods. What the hell does premium gaming goods mean when you've literally raised 15 million to build this platform. Imagine, right? And we'll get into another thing about like VC investing, yada, yada. But imagine you're like, hey, this person wants to build a blockchain-based streaming protocol. That sounds great. We're launching gaming goods instead. Okay, so you're pivoting back to Web 2, which is fine, but I feel like the notion for all this is the fact that they're in crypto, they're excited about things, and what the future looks like, not doing something that kind of already exists, even though arguably, you know, the majority of the audience is there for that. Damien, what are you more bullish on, ordinals or say NFTs? Ooh. Well, let me ask you guys that are watching here too. What do you think, Damien? This is coming from YouTube, by the way. So for anybody on Twitch, I actually let me do this because I can. There you go. So this is kind of how it looks like on my screen, but I guess I could just like flip to there so you can see the chat for a second. So let's talk about this and we'll continue here. I got like another like 30 plus tabs. So we're going to be going for a bit here, but so bullish on ordinals or say NFTs. So ordinals are basically on Bitcoin for anybody that doesn't know, and say is a new budding ecosystem that has gotten a lot of attention, and the big notion being around gas fees. And I think that that is something that is spicy, very spicy, because not to spoil, but we're going to get to a point here where there's a whole bunch of Yuga FUD over their recent mint. And with that mint, what happened basically was that they, you know, mint these NFTs and there's like X2, Y2 is the only marketplace for them. But then the gas fees to, you know, from minting to be able to sell them and just gas fees in general, for whatever reason, if you look, it's like 84 Gwei right now. People are saying, you know, it almost costs as much in gas, if not more, or half the cost to sweep X amount of assets as in gas to be able to do that. So the narrative around these L2s is really starting to pick up. I don't know. I'm ignorant in the fact that I don't know how bad gas fees are on Bitcoin ordinals. If it's not anything, then I think arguably that, because the Bitcoin narrative is still going to be massive. But the question with the ordinals thing is that only going to be about provenance? Because it feels like that's kind of the thing where, you know, for say, if there is actually these utilities for these different games, does Bitcoin have to do like an L2 of some sort? And again, I'm speaking heavily from a place of ignorance. So I might be watching being like, this guy, I don't know what he's talking about. Again, I just try to make these things fun. But I think if you're looking at it subjectively, obviously more people are getting into Bitcoin and it's more of a premium buyer's market would be the correct term, where, you know, early days people said, oh, you can't buy anything on Ethereum unless you're a whale because of the gas fees. And, you know, for Bitcoin, a lot of the people that have that and most of the ordinals projects seem to be on the upper echelon and more expensive, evidently from the mints that sell out and they charge like a relatively large amount. But I do think Say has an interesting opportunity. If they continue this motion, is it going to be the next, you know, Solana type thing? I don't know. Solana is used, I think, more heavily for their token transfers and the meme coins and all that kind of like DeFi type stuff versus NFTs. And that could switch. But yeah, and if anybody's got extra thoughts on that, I'd love to hear you guys in the chat. Okay, Deadfellas. Apparently there's a snapshot taken. Haven't been following too closely with Deadfellas. Apparently they're working on a card game. But yeah, snapshot is there. So if you happen to hold one of these, get ready for a drop of some sort. Okay, we're going to be going through an educational point. We're going to be going through some mass amount of FUD. And then if I don't forget, while talking about this, we're going to go over a little bit of a security tip for this. So Pixels. It is one of the big games that did this kind of notion the same time as Nifty Island, with saying this is a play to airdrop game, I guess, or yeah, blockchain game. And so yesterday it was announced that the Pixels token is going to be launched through the Binance Launchpad. And so we talked the other day about how when you look at the centralized exchanges, Binance has like over a 50% market domination across all of them. Across all of the other centralized exchanges, Binance is by far the top. And so things get super bullish, and then we have a whole bunch of fallout for that, but you need to be aware of what Pixels is, so this is what we're going to get into. Trader Pops, if you want to talk about Seekers in a little bit, we can. But no, I'm not going to FUD Seekers. We're FUDing this in a way that makes sense. But anyway, okay, so Kagi Jan here. Why is Pixel so hyped? Pixels Online is a social farming simulator that has taken all the things that have worked in crypto, from PFP integrations, earning tokens and resources, SocialFi, yada, 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 and has implemented into a game we can all enjoy from any browser through mobile or PC. This kind of reminds me of RuneScape. Does anybody play old school RuneScape? Add me. It's at Futureverse. KEKW. I got the name. Pixel Pixels Online currently has over 180,000 daily active users, more than any game in crypto. These numbers live up to the standards of very successful Web2 games. The game has also generated over $5 million in revenue in the past 3 months through their VIP membership that gives players extra perks in-game. Pixels is a cash-generating business even before the token launch, a rare thing to see in crypto games. All of this is powered by Ronin, the number 3 blockchain in the world after Binance and Tron in terms of daily active users. What Web2 game is this comparable to? Well, Pixel, in my opinion, is a fusion of Habbo Hotel, Stardew Valley, and Web3 elements. You guys ever played Habbo Hotel or Stardew Valley? Any Valley players? Habbo Hotel is a 2D social virtual experience that at its peak reached 15 million unique monthly users, and Stardew Valley is a 2D farming sim that has more than 20 million downloads. So what's next for Pixels Online? Pixels already has formula that works, social platform with a very relaxing farming simulation game, which, to the point of this farming simulation game, I'm curious if we have the point, with these AI agents and the things that are supposed to be coming from that. Is it where these, manual simulation games kind of work, or is it you just kind of have these AIs that are working for you, or how does that break down? The next step is to allow the community to create 2D mini games of all kinds and make this into the 2D Roblox we didn't know we needed, powered by the Pixel token. Another way to put this is to convert into the minigame.com with social and Web3 feature. Okay, so there's a quick little rundown about kind of what Pixels is, but let's get into the FUD because that's why you guys are here. Right? Is this a joke? Is this a yoke at Pixels Online? What happened to community first, like Hayden Christen always spoke about? Is the Pixels culture only giving 34% allocation to your loyal community that you owe Pixel success to? Even counting the 7% launch pool, it's absurd. So as we continue here, think of your different collections that have launched and a token with it. Is 34% more, less, the same as whatever the allocation of the community you're a part of? For some projects, I'd expect this, but the entire ethos of Pixels has been community first. These tokenomics paint a very different picture. Actions speak louder than words. Not to mention, you just majorly diluted the play-to airdrop winners by sunsetting the Berry token on the back of Pixel on the same day. WTF? There's always these issues between like multiple tokens existing. I don't know why. This always seems like a thing where a project has launched a token and then, they have to pivot to something that's different, which, I mean, for sustainability, whatever reasons, is good. But how many times do they just kind of like screw the initial token? Maybe it's time to look for new advisors, because for how much these people are being paid, they aren't doing a good job advising the Pixel team. Okay, so here's the chart. Is this good? Is this bad? For the Binance launch pool, they have 7% investors, 14 alpha rewards, whatever the hell that means, 5%, 1% for liquidity, ecosystem 34%, treasury 17%, team 12.5%, and advisors 9.5%. That seems incredibly high for advisors. And again, we go through this notion, we look at people that are on these charts and saying, okay, they're a part of this community, whether they're influencers, they're hyping things, they're building out content, whatever it be. 9.5%, that's kind of crazy. You go for a meeting for a week, what in the hell of it? You know what I mean? It's crazy. Okay. People buying Berry right now are taking unnecessary risks. We don't know what the listing price of Pixel will be. We don't know the mechanics of the game moving forward. There's so many unknowns that can affect the future price of Pixel. I'd rather wait for the official launch of the token and the in-game mechanics. So again, I guess this Berry token's a part of it. I guess if you're in the Futureverse ecosystem, this would be like Sens versus Root. But I love doing these things just because it's kind of a way that we can look and see at how other ecosystems are responding to certain things. Apparently, Twitter is getting articles. We have the highlights section. We got replies, media that doesn't include the live streams for whatever freaking reason. But I guess articles are coming. So if you are a writer, you might be in for something good. Okay. I don't really know much about domain name buying, but this guy has spent $250,000 on sound.ai. $250,000 in a payment processing fee of $25. That's crazy. And the escrow fee is $2,000. Is that actually a thing people do? Because I mean, man, guys, we got to get out of NFTs and into these domain flipping. Apparently, I've been building in this space in one form or another for 7 years. It's been nothing short of an absolute grind for survival. This industry pushes all of us to our emotional limits, and in those times, it's priceless to have true friends that show up and show out. Thank you. Yeah, I just want to give a little shout out, guys. Thank you. I appreciate you coming by the stream all the time, and I see a lot of you relatively often here, and it's cool being able to do this more often and kind of getting into the groove again. And it's awesome being able to connect with you guys. Okay, so when we talk about crypto and the landscape that has shifted, you know what's really sick? How basically zero banks support YubiKey or any form of two-factor authentication besides text, call, and email. It's 2024. We got ChatGPT, we got Apple Vision Pro, we got the same digital security around our monetary systems as we did in 2006. Big points here. The bank, I don't think has really evolved at all. And this is where the disruption happens. Some industry gets complacent, something comes through. In this case, blockchain finance is able to potentially swarm those things that were complacent because they were like, hey, we just have a stranglehold on everything. Kind of a fun thought that I had here. Okay, students making history with innovative blockchain think tanks on university campuses. This is the youth are getting into NFTs, baby. Hell yeah, bro. Super proud of this group of young minds. Keep pushing the limit. So, introducing WAA's first semester drop, the first digital membership to come out of Texas Tech University. The piece that will help onboard the next 100 plus users to Web3. That's weird. Most people say we're going to onboard the next billion users to Web3. 100 plus? That seems almost rational. What is this? Price is 0.008 on base. Open edition from today till end of semester. All donations go to WAA student org nonprofit, open to anyone who wants to support. This piece is the first of our semesterly drop, handcrafted by our very own talented board member, inspired by Web3 culture with specific nods, yada, yada, yada. But still, I mean, this is kind of cool. Listen, the university is basically trying to get some funding here from launching an NFT. You say, hey, this is the first thing coming from Texas Tech. It's a huge university. Again, I think a lot of people, when you're younger and you go knocking door to door for your like jump rope for heart, and you're like, can I get a donation, sir? You kind of look like a fish, but then when you're older and you have like a little bit, where you can help out, knowing man, I remember the younger me. It's kind of cool. So we'll see what happens with that, but kind of neat. Okay. This goes to my beginning point of this stream. We talked yesterday how one of the artists was, commenting on people's posts being like, oh, it's so great that you bought my piece. Hopefully it's your forever thing. And then they immediately listed for double the floor. I like coins because I don't feel bad dumping for profits. NFTs, you buy them, you tweet a picture, say wag me, and how bullish you are, and then you sell the picture for profit. Feels a bit off. True. I'm not holding NFTs through bear markets again. That didn't work out so hot. I mean, to be honest, I think most people are like, okay, that's cool. I mean, if you immediately sell it the next day or your like intention of posting about it is to try to get other people to buy and then you sell it, it's like, okay, that could be a little fishy. But like, I mean, everybody goes through, hey, I'm bullish on this thing at this certain time. And then different narratives, different information becomes available. And then you kind of pivot from that. Okay. Some of these tweets, by the way, come from me going on who I'm following, going through, clicking and being like, okay, why do I follow this person? Are their tweets any good? Is it informative or educational? And have I ever DM'd them? And if they don't hit like the majority of those boxes, I'm just unfollowing because I'm like, I follow way too many people that I've literally never interacted with. But Bosch, Pixelmon and Pudgies were great to hold through the bear. Truly. And so this PAL AI is something that I follow. I haven't really looked into a whole lot, but they did a little bit of a handshake here with Black Rocket ERC. And throw the integrated custom PAL bot into your vibrant community. I'm sure it's vibrant, Keck. But Black Rocket is a project focused on preventing market manipulation, enhancing decentralization, and providing equal opportunities with a roadmap that includes partnerships, platform enhancement, and community-driven initiatives. I thought that the aspect of something trying to prevent market manipulation is interesting, so I thought I would highlight if you're wanting to check it out. Again, it's at Black Rocket ERC. There's nobody following it, 255 followers, But I mean, this PAL AI thing, it's got almost 50,000 followers. Incorporating the AI, wag me? No, I have no idea. Price action is greater than opinions. True or falsy? The tape tells you all you need. This is an interesting point. Because I think everybody, when you go on your timeline, Navi, I'm going to pick on you here, but go to Navi's timeline, and he's talking about with hat, almost all of his tweets, right? And I'm like, all right. That guy's kind of bullish on the with hat shit. All right, okay, cool. But, is that also having the price action that's to follow that? Because that's really all people are going to care about when you look at it. When I look at other collections that people are talking about and whatnot, they give these theses, it's good. You send somebody this, they're like, what are you bullish on? And they're like, oh, well, it's just been getting wrecked the entire time. And you're like, okay, but there's fundamentals and this kind of stuff, but they don't care if they don't fully believe it, right? So again, this highlights the price action as opinions. If they see something going green, they're like, oh my God, I need to get in. Where if it's red, they, have the scared thing. And I feel like that's a majority of like people that are kind of like newish or not heavily into the space, but generally agree. Bro, stop saying whiff. It's whiff. Listen, I'm trying to whiff. Fun fact, I almost failed my radio class in college for pronunciation. Because like for Toronto, I was like Toronto. Or like, some different words where you need to take your time to enunciate each word. Everything just kind of goes together. I got like a 55 in that class, so I passed, but like literally the lowest mark you could possibly get. It was horrible. People in crypto just want free money. Truly. I hear this a surprising amount from founders and builders. The more I observe, the more I believe this is true. Are you new? Crypto is a game and you're playing with money. True. I mean, so this is the thing. And it goes back to the arguments that we've had the entire time, while also saying, hey, the year of 2024 is execution. It's showing its, actual delivery. Because when we look back, as we did at the beginning of the show, and we highlighted all the collections, what was there for it other than hype and people realizing that blockchain is the future and these guys might be able to create IPs that everybody's going to want? Sure, like 2 of the 10 assets had some kind of a token yield. That's great. But we've just hyper financialized everything where there almost is no product for the majority of these things, but we think the product that they are going to launch, which obviously Valhalla, they say they're going to launch a Web3 thing, and I'm sorry if you're a holder of this, but I keep mentioning it. But, they say, hey, we're going to sell this blockchain Web3 platform, and then they don't, and they do this other thing. Then it goes to, okay, well, they weren't able to create what we anticipated. So these narratives, the things that people are bullish on, yada, yada, yada. It's really kind of a guessing game on things, but we're all here because we know like this is legitimately the future, right? I hate when people say NFTs are solely gambling. That is completely incorrect, because this is going to be something that completely shakes up several industries. It's hard to get certain people to get in that notion, and there's going to be a hell of a lot of things that fail, but it's the exact same thing with your traditional business of how much it fails, right? They tried you because they didn't realize you're really a great speaker. Yo, thank you. I appreciate that, Algie. But I definitely, looking back, I'm trying to think anything with a T. Any like Montreal, right? Already failed the class. Blast unlocks with $1 billion in liquidity in 2 weeks. And you are taking WETH offers on your NFTs? This is a spicy meatball. So as I've continually said, yesterday we went over, or a few days ago, we went over how the AMP claim for heavy metals coming out. That's going to be a tradable NFT. We're going to get more into the Legends of Maraman for Yuga, where that's another NFT or arguably liquidity for it. Yesterday we had the airdrop for Root for a bunch of the Fluff and Party Bear holders within Futureverse. And all these things are happening, right? Where there's suddenly everybody with liquidity. And then on top of that, you have $1 billion coming out of Blast. This is really the time for some of these projects to get out there, make their presence known. People are going to have this liquidity. If they buy NFTs, there's like a 90% chance they're just going to go and re-put it back into another NFT of something they're holding. But I think a lot of people haven't done a good job of like showing, hey, here's why you should get into this. But the opportunity is there for that. Now, The other conversation we could have with this is, did you think about putting money into Blast? Did you? Because arguably, if you did, how many other things have happened with the liquidity that you used, right? As an example, was it better just to hold that in Blast and earn the token, or buy whatever you did, hold whatever you did? I would argue that based off of like the way that it seemingly went over the past little bit, and apart from Pudgies, everything's kind of been, but floating down the river per se, that it was genius for anybody that ended up putting the funds into Blast. It was locked up for the 3 months, but how many things actually happened during that time? Some that I'm like, I kind of wish that I ended up actually putting anything into that. I thought it was like a little bit risky at the point, just because I didn't understand it on day one. And it was like, why is everybody putting this much amount of capital into it? And then, you kind of, a little bit, a few days after, like, oh, okay, like I kind of get it. I didn't get it at first, but damn, that might have been a great play. But either way, still $1 billion of liquidity out potentially in the NFT markets shortly. Bosch bought 3 ETH of Blur 2 days ago, added 1 ETH into my staking and holding 2 ETH for the multiplier pump. Yo, this man is set. I only put 3 ETH into Blast to start. Well, you did better than I, sir. Okay, so we talked earlier about Valhalla and the VC aspect, right? And okay, if you have these money, invest in these things, how much does it work, yada, yada, yada. And Pons is the founder of The Plague. The Plague also gave equity to its holders as a Christmas present. And then today, they said they're happy to announce that we've signed a deal with Based VC Fund to bring exclusive opportunities to our members. Plague Frog NFT holders will gain access to top-tier private equity and early token round investment opportunities through the Based VC platform. So I have to ask, yo, Hillside, yo, what's going on, bro? My man, what do you think of Franklin's latest tweet? I need to check. I just realized I think I have Franklin muted because he just kept chilling his Bored Ape when the X paychecks went out. I was like, where's Franklin on the timeline? I think I have him muted. I gotta go check. Thanks for the reminder. That's hilarious. But sorry, my point with this though is, okay, like you're a holder right now, okay? Like you, sorry, let me rephrase. You were a holder of this collection, and they announced that you can now get private equity, or sorry, you can get like exclusive deals where you can invest. Do you have the capital to be able to actually partake in such a thing? Genuinely. Because I think this is kind of funny, right? When you look at the different collections, I mean, we could argue and say, okay, for some of the people that have Azukis, maybe they have money. Bored Apes, obviously, everybody was like, oh my God, those people are rich. We need to pay attention to them. Back in the day, I feel like that's fallen off a little bit. But, for the Plague, is that known for having these like rich, lavish members? I don't know. I still think like it's cool, right? Like, don't get me wrong, but in terms of like utility, how many people that are a part of that collection are actually going to be able to take advantage of these opportunities such as this? Franklin sold his ape. You saw that right. I'm trying to think. Maybe. When was it? Are you talking like today? Or the other day? Again, I think I had him muted. Like, I've talked to him before, but when the X paychecks went out, he just started shilling and commenting on everything, and it was all over my feed. This is the problem, right? And if you guys ever want to like see my stuff often without like setting notifications on, just like anytime you see me click on the tweet, go into it. You don't even need to like it, but then like you'll just have a point where like if you are looking at it, observing it for any length of time, the algo is just like, okay, every time this pops up, send it to this person. 2 minutes ago, 275 ETH sale. What? Oh my goodness. Hold on a minute. We're going to derail. I need to learn how to spell. 24. 2 minutes ago, OTC X2Y2. X2Y2. Okay. We can do X2Y2. That's respectable. Oh, there we go. Recent. We have looked this up. Activities. Wow. $667,000. Working at McDonald's. That's crazy, dude. Now, the thing with this that I find interesting is that it kind of took this long because from the last time that I remember, there was some kind of funky thing that happened with him that like he got rinsed on a deal but then people said that he was gambling on something, but then like it was kind of like fishy of like, okay, was it gambling? Was it actually like a friend that ended up like he trusted that he gave a whole bunch of money to? Though I don't really remember, but I thought the guy got totally wrecked. But still holding on to this thing now, coming up with $667,000. That's a huge come up, and holy goodness, I made a TikTok yesterday of looking at the the pickle that was from Doodles with the rainbow mouth. And I put it on TikTok, and people are like, people still buy NFTs. I just screenshotted it. And I'm like, okay, dude. I get like 0 engagement in terms of comments on my videos usually, except for anything that's like specifically about NFTs. It's like obvious. It's kind of like a more like fun thing that anybody can understand. It always gets the goods. I have a deep conviction for the coin right now, just like I did for ETH in 2019. Okay, so what he means coin, he's referring to the Coinbase stock. Now, for anybody that doesn't know, the notion behind the Coinbase stock being something that's desired, here's the TLDR. With the ETFs coming out, there needs to be on and off ramps, specifically within the US. Coinbase pretty much dominates that. I don't know like Binance's relationship with the US. In a lot of parts of Canada, it's like blocked. You're not able to use it, whatever. But for the US, a lot of stuff does go through Coinbase. And so for these ETFs that are on and off ramps is going to be through these exchanges and specifically Coinbase. So we've heard the notion of the ETFs are bullish. There's going to be a whole bunch of liquidity injected into it, yada, yada, yada. But anytime those ETFs actually transact, they're giving like what % of their fees over to Coinbase to interact. So all that matters, whether Bitcoin's at $1 million, whether it's at, $15,000, it's irrelevant as long as there's some insane volume going in and out of Coinbase, which is likely what's going to happen. So that's why I don't hold Base or Coinbase at all stock, but just saying for anybody that sees people talking about being bullish on it, that's the rationale, is that with these ETFs, there's just going to be a hell of a lot.
Give us that financial advice, yeah, buddy.
Yo, end the stream. Yo, Boomer, what's going on, brother? How are you? Thank you so much for the 100 bits there, guys. Crazy. But again, I don't know. I'm curious if any of you guys are bullish on Coinbase. But how many other like crypto exchanges are there on the stock market, right? Because we have in Canada, Wondershare is the big one, and there's like Coinberry. I want to say it's called Newton. There's BitBuy that uses Scotty Barnes as like the representative on all like the Raptors commercials and stuff. It's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy. But obviously the Kevin O'Leary connection with that. And it seems that Wonderfi, Wondershare is the video editing program I use. Wonderfi is buying pretty much all the crypto exchanges to have like a monopoly on that. So we'll see how that flushes out. But speaking of the ETFs, breaking Fidelity now allocates 1% to spot Bitcoin in their all-in-one conservative ETF. They will all do it. Now, again, this is kind of the notion that I've seen other people say, is that the mantra eventually if Bitcoin goes back up to like 60, 70K, people are going to start talking about it a lot more and going to their financial advisors. And apparently the suggestion is going to be to add like 1% of the portfolio to the Bitcoin ETF. Okay. Do we want some FUD? Hell yeah, dude. Think their aggressive fund is 2.5 to 3%. Okay, so what you're saying is whack me, brother. My man. How do you feel about Magic Eden's Creator Alliance? Just what the doctor ordered. Unfair practice to eliminate marketplace royalty competition. I need answers. What the hell was this? So if you're a Yuga holder, I'm talking to you for a minute, okay? I'm talking to you. Whether you had it before or you didn't, you just pay attention to Yuga. So the announcement came out a while ago that Yuga and Bored Apes and all that stuff was going to partner with Magic Eden. Now, I could be wrong, but the assumption that I had reading that was there was going to be this special opportunity that was only available to Bored Apes. Do we say that it's like an extra form of utility? I mean, maybe, but the way that it was phrased seemed like it was a very exclusive thing specifically between Magic Eden and Yuga, and maybe for Magic Eden to build the marketplace for Yuga assets alone so they don't need to go to X2, Y2, Blur, yada, yada, which we've seen that they've blocked some things. We're going to go into that a little bit more, right? That was my assumption and the way that they presented it. However, if you missed it, Magic Eden made this announcement saying, we believe that creators are the lifeblood of Web3. That's why we've started the Creators Alliance, a coalition of the top NFT projects in Web3 who are focused on promoting a sustainable royalty framework to empower creators and grow the NFT ecosystem. So not only is Yuga a part of this, but you have Artifact, Pudgy Penguins, Azuki. I could go through the list. You pretty much know all the big ones: Pixelmon, Army Fortune, Rangoon, Quirkies, a kid called Beast, DJ Tunes, Killabears, Alien Friends, Rock Radio, The Doge Pound, yada, 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 yada. Yada, 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 yada. So I guess for myself, I'm like, okay, well, I thought that Yuga and Magic Eden were partnering exclusively, but now it's just, hey, bring home the entire zoo. So these notable projects plan to support the new Magic Eden marketplace on Ethereum. I don't exactly know what that means. I think, we finish up on the Blur farming, right, with this blast and everything, and then immediately, okay, guys, listen, we need to find new liquidity for these NFTs because Blur and the whole blast thing, listen, that's going to get a little bit undone. We've seen the bids not happening. Magic Eden and the Diamond Rewards and partnering with all of the major ETH collections, guys, we're going to jump ship from what we're doing over on Blur to what we're doing over on Magic Eden. Right? Like... Man, NFTs are absolutely the future. It is crazy. Yo, lawyers, 3 landers rug, eh? Oh my goodness. I saw that. I don't know if it was like lack of funding or what, but it was, I don't know. When the collection came out, it's another thing that like just looked so much like Doodles and all these like cute cuddly things. I feel like it's really hard to stand out and do things. Okay, if I'm an NFT project, this is maybe a hot take, but I really believe it. I don't know why they all just don't do this. Find an animator, find something, create your characters within these funky gifts that everybody's relatable to. This I get. This is the Shaq thing with the cat going, ooh, right? Like, you probably recognize this. I don't get why this doesn't happen more. It's easy. You can end up going viral through it from people, constantly responding to comments with it, which we've seen Pudgy Penguins do a great job of it. And this is awesome from Doodles. I don't know why more people don't do it. And same thing with this, how do you get people to like the IP? Okay, some people might not like Bored Apes. Okay, fair. But here's a 3D version that's kind of like a nifty little scene. It looks awesome. It seems relatively simple and quick, but, it's pleasing to the eye and kind of cool and adds value to these IPs. Okay, speaking of Yuga, there's been a lot of FUD. We got to go over it. I don't know how many of you are in the ecosystem. To purchase Legends of the Mara loot, you'd spend more in gas than the value of the item itself. Why weren't these minted to an L2? Make it make sense. So basically, there are these like ship parts for Legends of Mara, and for a legendary ship, which I don't know if this one, the next tweet might talk about it a little bit, but people were saying, to buy the legendary parts, which is, I want to say that it was like maybe upwards of like 20 to 40 plus pieces, it was going to cost like almost 2 ETH, but it would cost 0.5 in gas because it's on Ethereum. So to the question that we had earlier in the chat here, from Damien saying, what are you more bullish on, ordinals or Say NFTs? I guess ordinal's kind of off to the side for this one, but for Say, you're like, okay, well, the gas fees aren't going to cripple you. And that's one of the most vocal things I've said is like, I think Ethereum's cool, but like to spend $20 plus on gas on just doing any transaction, it's not going to work. We are going to need these L2s. Something has to improve with it. And so there's just a lot of FUD from people that are a part of this being like, why couldn't these be minted on an L2? Which goes back to the ApeCoin DAO and all the votes. I had like a back and forth with somebody, or not really a back and forth per se, but I posted a clip that was highlighting what ApeCoin said of Ape Chain is coming. So I was like, okay, here's a quick little video. We have these 4 options: ZK Sync, you have Polygon, Optimism, and holy hell, I forget the other one, but it was like 4, right? And then I saw a post from the Bored Ape Gazette, and they said that the ApeCoin chain is getting voted on if it's going to happen. And I'm like, What do you mean if it's going to happen? The ApeCoin people literally just tweeted saying that Ape Chain is coming and go vote on which 4 it is. And then Captain Trippy linked me this thing and he's like, no, it's actually 2 votes. And then Bored Ape said, yeah, it's 2 votes. And I'm like, okay, so none of this makes any sense. None of this makes any sense, right? But I agree with this. If it's smaller priced assets, you really can't have it where you have these mint prices, or sorry, not mint prices, but the gas fees more than the assets themselves. And so this is kind of a little bit more of a breakdown from Adam Hollander. It was a mistake for Yuga to decouple Legends of the Mara items before giving people any understanding of what they actually do. That's another part. What do they do? Legendary items and ship pieces are now trading for $20 to $60 on the secondary. This devalues the reason why someone might hold Kodas and Mara and have them hunt in Legends of the Mara. Why spend thousands of dollars and invest time into a staking mechanism that you can just buy the best rewards for a small fraction of that? So going back, because I think a lot of you guys don't remember what happened. Heavy metal. I streamed heavy metal. If you want to check the videos, we got a playlist about it. I was doing it every day. It was casual. We were hanging out. It was good vibes. And people were paying a ton of money to get the votes every day. And the idea with the votes is that if you ended the season at the higher leaderboard, you got these legendary amps, which are yet to come out. But the hype for it kind of went away, and there's people that were literally hiring others to run farms for them. Like the number 2 guy or something had he said he had 10 people playing these 60 assets each or something absolutely crazy. And then they find out, okay, the reward's kind of nothing. It's going to come out later. There's all these things that are a little bit slower, yada, 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 yada. And I mean, it's the assumption that we're having. And this is where it's a little bit weird because, we get so hyper focused on saying for these teams, hey, why isn't this better? Why, you guys have all this funding, you have this and that. But realistically, they sold the NFT for, whatever price, right? In some cases it was free. And then people had the assumption that this was going to be something that was super valuable. And again, it's assuming, and there's points when it does get kind of ludicrous, as we saw at the beginning of the stream for some of the top NFT sales of these top collections. And it goes to this back and forth, and then it goes to, oh, can you deliver on gaming, yada, 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 yada. And it's this wild spiraling control. And I apart from having the actual utility and understanding things, I do think the fact that those were minted on Ethereum where the gas fees are horrendous. Again, it's 62 Gwei right now. It's tough. It's tough. Bosh. Battle Plan did their collection right. Off chain, unless you want to bring on chain, then did on Arbitrum Nova, so costs are penny. Yeah, I agree. I think that's great. And, the argument for some of these things is, oh, okay, how many people use Arbitrum and yada, yada. It doesn't matter. If it's something that's easy where you just click on your MetaMask, you add something, I feel the average, all Web3 people that have a wallet that have gotten to that step can do those other components. So it's not, I don't even think it's relevant as long as there's easy on and off ramps from Arbitrum to mainnet, yada, yada, yada. So agree with you. Boomer. Woo, I need a breath for a second. How you doing, brother? Okay. Are the rewards even out for heavy metal? No, they are not. But I saw somebody complaining about that the other day that we mentioned on the stream, and they said that it was going to be spring of 2024, which I don't know if that's Q2. But I would argue that's coming up, which again, if you haven't seen Coinbase's outlook for 2022, they literally have a portion within the report that says when moon, and they said likely Q2. Not financial advice, not even remotely interested in knowing if that's true or not at current time because we're in Q1, but still interesting to note that Coinbase is going out there saying that stuff is supposed to be mooning in Q2. Okay. A kid called Beast. I'm going to admit something I've never admitted before. I actually love the way that A Kid Called Beast NFTs look. One of my favorite collections. However, I've always fudded it. I didn't like it. I thought it was kind of when they had that whole debacle with the people early on. The founders, one of them left. They were doing these extra things. It just felt super shady. However, I feel like that's kind of going to the wayside because they continue to do stuff here. But it looks like A Kid Called Beast is doing some kind of a drop, maybe a physical collectible of some sort. But yeah, first edition of that character. Is that something that you want in these collections or something that goes kind of for them? Yo, Hoddle Hill, good freaking morning. It's Marbles. CAC W. Okay. Anybody watch Jenna Marbles back in the day? No? Okay. I just remember the name. Okay. Monero will never compromise on privacy. Why are they tweeting this? You can trade Monero on other exchanges, on DEXs, and with Atomic Atomic? Maybe automatic swaps. I mean, maybe that's a different protocol. I don't know. Anyway, please self-custody your XMR. So Binance is making this list. We are seeing this kind of constant trend now of these exchanges listening to potential regulation concerns. I think maybe this is just the fact that there's not enough volume or something, but I remember Monero being one of the top things that people wanted to buy, or things as in tokens for privacy. But Binance saying that they are delisting it here. I mean, does anybody hold privacy coins? I remember ZG, Zed Gazette, one of the first people they ever had on the stream, and he was super into the privacy coins and all that kind of stuff way back in the day. But interesting to see here as the space progresses, do people try to go, with the being hidden and anonymous, or is it kind of just regulatory compliance? We're going whatever. Atomic. Atom is ick. I got you. Yeah, bro. Okay. It's increasingly clear to me that the cash moat around existing layer 1 ecosystems has reached a point where it's almost impossible to compete without raising $100 million to fund your ecosystem right out of the gate. I mean, I generally agree with that, right? Like, I feel we don't see too many things happen without some massive funding behind it. While there is a lot of existing technology to leverage, the incremental upgrades that matter in terms of what's more valuable between these chains lie in the token price. The 283 billion market cap of Ethereum is far too low to replicate what has been created underneath and on top of the ETH ecosystem. Do you think ETH has provided more than 283 billion for the market cap? That's crazy. The replacement cost for the global financial system and application store is without a doubt greater than 500 billion. This goes to the question for you that are bullish on blockchain. Do you think that this is going to be the replacement for global financial systems? And we're going to get to some XRP stuff in a second, because it doesn't look like they might not be able to do that. A little spicy. Solana, with 54 billion valuation as the leading competitor to challenge Ethereum, could definitely reach the same 283 billion market cap. Being more compatible with existing traditional developers and offering high-performance technology, Solana could easily be the winner. True, could. Albeit with a lower probability of surpassing Ethereum, primarily because the Ethereum network effect may still be too strong. A lot of devs building on it. Alternative layer 1s launching at multiple billion-dollar valuations, while frothy, indicate that these parallel EVMs leveraging the execution environment from Solana and the EVM we all know and love, like MetaMask, have a lower probability than Solana of achieving Ethereum status as the future global financial system. All right, this guy's dogging on some of the new stuff. Okay, that's crazy, bro. However, the upside, if that layer 1 were to win, is so high that it justifies these valuations. Okay, a little bit of FOMO here. My belief is that some of these layer 1s are firmly entrenched to continue growing off the insane network effect they've started. It's my bet that others will get there too and still contain massive upside. Market isn't frothy. You're just not aware of how large the opportunity you're investing into is. Wag me, brother. Wag me, brother. What's the deal with Farcaster.x2y2? Anyone really signing up for it? So I have it. If you have it, it's at Schillerverse. Feel free to add me. For anybody that doesn't know, Farcaster is a kind of like protocol, I guess, that launched Warpcaster. And so it's a part of the Farcaster ecosystem, and it's essentially Twitter, but you pay $5 and then you have access to it. Within my short experience, the way that it works is it's kind of like a Reddit thread where you can look on your feed and everybody's posting under these different channels. So you'll see people that you think are NFT talkers, and they're randomly talking about their fitness advice, right? I think just randomly engagement farming, yada, yada, yada. But sometimes it's kind of interesting. If you're into memes, there's a channel specifically for that. They only have like picture capability, and the amount of text you can put on that is like atrocious. It's really bad. It's like 300 characters or something, so you can't really put too many lengthy things. The discoverability on there is super garbage. And the thing is, like, the same people that you see tweet right now are going to be the same people that are posting on Warpcaster, and you just have a higher probability of seeing them. But it's no different than like you, instead of going on your For You tab, because most people do that, is just go in your following tab and you would see that exact same thing. So I think there needs to be a little bit more to that. But again, I am on there. for $5, it's kind of whatever, but like people are saying that there's going to be, you know, things that are built on these, all these airdrops and whatnot, and people are like minting these things, but apparently it's like through base. It's okay, but I think it's got to have like a lot more to like be like, oh yeah, I want to get my company to have like a social media account on there, yada, 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 yada. Okay. Apparently, it's the real Dan Friedberg appearing on Zoom. Who the hell is that? Who the hell is this? Okay, well, that's the last tweet that SBF liked. 1 million followers. The guy's from the Bahamas. He's got the hair. Do you remember the crazy stories that came out about SBF? When he went in the news, we were live streaming things. His parents were involved. They did this, you know, I didn't mean to do anything, back and forth. It was crazy. But did we ever see another tweet from SBF again? That was the last thing he retweeted. Sorry, I shouldn't say like. Last thing he retweeted. But that was back in January of last year. When SBF. So I mentioned Ripple a minute ago, in the vein of Ethereum trying to change the financial sector. And I've seen all these news about Ripple and their attempt at creating a new, I guess, like monetary system, or having kind of like the world token, right? I guess would be the right thing. So the quoted tweet originally says, just spoke with Nemu Global exec from Singapore. He said, yes, they use ODL for cross-border payments, but only in a few cases. Main rails, he says, are via banks. He doesn't see a big future for this Ripple cross-border product, I'm afraid. We knew Ripple had limited transaction for their payment settlements use case in the US, but it still looks like even in Asia, that traction is not much better. I hope this is wrong and simply just FUD, but unless I see evidence in contrary, it seems XRP's future is all in the other stuff happening lately on XRPL. So this goes back to the conversation where if you've not seen David Schwartz, who's like the big guy for Ripple, he's made the statement saying, hey, we're like getting into the metaverse, we're doing all these other things. And so that's where it comes into play of like, okay, who's partnered with Ripple? What's going on with that? Where does the bet go through if the cross payment aspect is not working? I'll let you connect the dots on that one. And finally, I wanted to end off here on the Vision Pro. So a few days ago, it came out, and I feel like you guys all saw it across your entire timeline. And how many of you guys have bought it? Hands up if you have. Let me know. I haven't. $3,000, but everybody had different opinions on it, and I thought this one was kind of interesting to share with you for some food for thought. Vision Pro arrived today. It's simultaneously ludicrously impressive and extremely disappointing at the same time. The tech is ridiculous. The eye and hand tracking is basically perfect and feels incredibly futuristic. The windows are simple to manipulate, and I was able to navigate X, listen to music, watch a movie, scroll my photos, search the internet, etc. All with incredible ease. I'm completely certain that I'll be telling my grandkids one day about how we used to have physical screens sitting on desks and these things called mice to move a little pointer around. The laugh and amusement and amazement of such an archaic, crazy concept. But there are two I can't get past that in all likelihood will result in me returning the headset. The physical world through the Vision Pro is mildly blurry, almost like you're looking at everything through a slight haze. I actually checked to see if I'd forgotten to take a film off the camera lens. The windows inside Vision Pro are extremely crisp and high resolution, but this isn't VR, it's AR. And if you can't see a high resolution reality, in my opinion, it diminishes the value significantly. I thought maybe I had to set it up wrong or a setting turned on that I shouldn't, but from what I'm reading, I'm far from the only person with this opinion or problem. I envision being able to use Vision Pro in conjunction with my phone, computer, and surroundings. The ability to create extra monitors all over the room while working, but not only is the physical world blurry, other screens are basically unusable through the Vision Pro. It takes incredible focus just to read a text message on my iPhone, let alone use it along my desktop. The other problem is the weight of the headset. I tried both types of straps and have concluded there's simply no way someone could reasonably wear this for an extended period of time, even though everybody has done this on my timeline, it looks like, unless they're just trying to do it for the photo, without significant discomfort. I'm certain future models will get smaller and lighter, but this one feels like something that should be an impressive in-store demo, not sold to a consumer for thousands upon thousands of dollars. I'm not giving up on it, and if anyone has suggestions about ways to improve the pass-through resolution or make the headset more comfortable, I'm all ears. I love the technology. Nothing will make me happier than to be wrong or mistaken about the issues I'm wrestling with. He ended up returning it, by the way. Saw him post yesterday that he returned it. But there's your insight. We talked about the crazy happenings of early NFT days, the FUD that is rampant within the space, the attempt at cross-border payments, the value proposition of all these new layer ones. Are things good in Bitcoin ordinals? Are they better in, say, NFTs? It is crazy out here. But if you guys enjoyed this, make sure to like this video. And if you can share it with one friend, I know it takes a little bit of time to click that share button and just send a message, be like, hey, you might like the show. We're going to be doing these every day. Be sure to check out the live tab here on YouTube, or if you're on Twitch, I think you just can click on the profile and you're good. X, you might have to go through all my annoying stuff. But again, I appreciate the hell out of you guys coming through today. Thank you for the subs, Young Algae and Mr. Navi and Boomer for those 100 bits. You guys are absolute beauties and gems. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you tomorrow. Peace. Peace.